And that's just, I mean, and
box
that's where I,
breeding
you know,
again.
without talking
Okay.
about it, that's what I
Not
decided
just
to do was shut
public
that
nuisance,
road
but
off, so
also
it's like,
animal related
I might as well
problems.
close it.
And then we need, probably, we needed to maybe rethink our approach, because she's not gonna keep it.
Okay.
clean.
Roads are clear, yeah.
What?
But that's what comes with the hamburgers in town too.
You had some work out here tonight.
I even turned on the ear, I don't think anything works.
Yeah. I haven't changed the filter in a while.
But he told me to go on.
I've given up.
Yeah, that goes.
Yeah.
What are we
Really weird.
What's the first thing on the list?
You wanted to workshop,
But it's flirting together. I know.
yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about the workshop, sure.
But, well, all this.
Do we
We
need
need
a
a
formal?
we need a motion to put it
Oh,
on the
so
agenda
we'll do this as an additional item
in the workshop.
It's all right.
in the workshop or?
Yeah, because then we can vote to put it on the next meeting.
You're allowed to know.
Yeah.
Okay, are we ready to open the workshop?
You guys gotta get out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're ready.
Cameron's Okay. been running a perfect minute already.
Grants and stuff, and there's grants out there, but they-
Okay, what's first on the workshop order?
All right, the assessor's 5% increase. So, Mike, you called me in regards to the 5% increase.
Yep.
Let's see, on June 21st, 2022, the Watonwan County Board of Commissioners approved a 5% increase to the assessment fee schedule for the 2023 assessments. In your packet tonight, if you take a look at that, it gave you the breakdown of what it was in the past years. So, the fee didn't change for a very, very long time. And then in 2022, they increased it 5%, and now in 2023, they increased it another 5%.
Right, and the reason I brought it to your attention was when the paper published it, it said 5% increase in value, or for whatever, it wasn't specific on, that was what our cost was to the county to have our houses assessed,
So
or
currently,
valued.
the city has a joint powers agreement, with the Watonwan County Assessor, and so we pay per parcel. So currently, in 2022, there was 179 parcels at $13.40. So our yearly rate, or our fee was $14,458.60. When going into 2023, we'll have 179 parcels at $14.07. So that 5% increase will bring us up to $15,181.53.
Yeah.
But the,
So-
go ahead.
My question is, so we're paying this per the amount of parcels that are in the city, or per the amount of parcels that are assessed by the assessor?
In the city, so,
So no matter if they assess them or not, we're paying a flat rate for?
yeah, she runs a report on how many parcels are located in the city, and that's what we pay.
Does that include the tax exempt ones that she doesn't look at?
I'll be honest with you, when I called Maggie, she said she runs the report, and I was assuming it was all the parcels. So Jim, can you elaborate on this?
Not sure.
Because if it's all the parcels and that's the tax exempt, that's the school, the hospital buildings, all the churches.
Well, it might be better to break the price down instead of by the amount of parcels in the, full city, just as the amount of parcels they're actually doing assessments on every year. So we kinda know what we're paying for what we're getting. I don't know if she'd have that as how many assessments were done in town last year versus this total price, but I'm sure it's a lot more than $14.07.
It's usually 25% every 4 years.
Right, so it's probably $60 per assessment.
Probably is, yeah.
Okay. Or 40.
But I don't disagree with, but clarification would be nice.
Yeah, some clarification would be nice. I know we've made some special requests in the past to have particular parcels assessed, just maybe out of their rotation or whatever, either because we thought maybe they were extremely undervalued or extremely overvalued. And she's obliged with that, so I have no problem in answering this. The other thing is, has anybody researched an option as to what the alternative is? I mean, if you tried to hire,
There isn't any available.
right,
I'm guessing that it's gonna be more than $15,000.
I would guess it would be quite a bit more than that.
Is when I consider what I hired the appraisal to do this building and what we paid for that. Yeah,
I do know that the other counties around us do the same thing.
It would be nice just for council information to have a little clarification on the number of assessments being done and then the total number, you know, versus total number, and if all the ones that are completely out of the assessment cycle are still included, just so we know.
alright, I'll get more clarification from Maggie in that regards, but as, going forward, there is, a thing that asks to sign that we are approved the 5% increase.
You gonna add that to the agenda for the council meeting?
It's on the agenda,
Yep,
Okay.
right?
if you want, it's gonna be an added one, let me just check.
Oh, I thought, oh, that's,
No, it's an added one. So we have to add it on.
okay. Let's add it on then.
Alright, the next item on the workshop is to discuss, squad cars. Rob currently is having some issues with the squad cars that he has. The other thing is the availability of new squads and when to put in a bid or get bids for a new squad. So I'm gonna have Rob take it over right now and kinda give you a heads up on what's going on.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, we made success getting this new car and then, but we really haven't had much luck trying to keep things going. The 2015 squad car has been in the shop. I've got an $8,000 repair budget for squad cars for the year, and I'm over $6,000 already in repairs for those two older cars.
So Chief, real quick, to be clear, none of that went to the old Impala, right?
Yeah, yes, some of the early stuff did. There was some repairs initially at the beginning of the year for that car before we sent it out to pasture, yes, so.
Where
So
did we
was
put
that
the money that
sold?
we got from that car?
So the $4,000 that we received from that car went into the capital fund for new squad cars. So right now, currently, we sit at about 64,000 in the capital fund for a new squad.
So my second question is then, what does the fleet look like now? You've got the new one.
Correct.
What are the other vehicles you have?
So we have a 2015, and I'm sorry I did not bring the mileage with me, but it's probably getting up to somewhere around 120,000 is my guess. The 2015 is around 120,000. The 2018 is approximately 70 to 80,000.
So do you have, so based on, you know, when you talk to other folks across the state, what time frame do they talk about when you need to replace your fleet?
Well, typically, we, you know, it kind of varies throughout the state, but a lot of them either rotate out every 2 years or every 3 years and basically take their oldest squads out. It depends on how many cars they add, but they take a certain amount, you know, a third of their fleet basically, and rotate them out every year or
Yeah,
two.
so the reason I ask is like at CCC, we replace our fleet every 10 years, but we don't drive our vehicles like you do. So I'm wondering how, you know, at what point, I mean, if you're talking, you've got a 2015 that's got how many?
It's
120,000
It's 120,000, and the reason why it's gotten as high as it has is it took, with the COVID and supply chain issues with the chips and stuff, it just took that much longer to get that new car here. So now we have it in circulation, but unfortunately the damage is already done.
Yeah.
And we have repairs on the
So my
car that
point
we
is-
can't
My
seem
point is,
to rectify.
we need to talk about replacing that fleet a little more frequently.
Well, I think if we can get, you know, I guess my conversations with Chris is just trying, because we had such a difficulty in getting that car here, is trying to bump it up by a year, but I'm already having conversations with the chief deputy, and the 2023 squads are almost impossible to get at this point, so we're already looking
You
at
can't get
2024.
one anymore.
Right, can't get one anymore, so we're already looking at 2024 now, so the conversation might be moot because we were scheduled for another car in 2024.
You can order for 2024.
I think that's what I'm looking for at this point, is probably to get, you know, see what we can find
Yeah,
and try and see if we can get something
Right.
going.
County couldn't get any more 23s, could
I
they?
think we ordered 2 for 2024,
Yeah.
way out. It takes
Yeah.
so long now.
So what we're doing is approving tonight so he can put his name down on the list to get a 24.
Yeah, so again.
I guess
just
my-
one-
23, whatever
that's a
comes up.
no-brainer.
What's the budget at, what's the money set, how much do we have set aside?
Well, so that's a conversation Chris and I just had today too, so I'll let her deal with the money on it, because obviously the money's not all budgeted until 2024 for that rotation, but
But we also gained by getting the new squad.
Right, but Chris just said there was
Yeah,
64,000
but the
in
new
that.
squad allowed us to get on our rotation. So right now, we have about 64,000
Yeah.
sitting in our capital fund, but our projection is 100,000 to outfit and everything for our
What was the
squad.
line item?
$100,000 for a squad car?
Yeah.
For what, a Tahoe? We don't need another Tahoe.
No, for any.
No, for anything.
$100,000 for a squad car?
yeah,
What
well,
happened to the 45, 50s?
yeah, wouldn't that be
Ours is a
nice?
regular
They
car.
don't make them
Okay,
in a
then we'll
squad
get a
car
regular car.
anymore.
The problem is it's not just the car.
$100,000.
The cars
I
are
wanna see
actually,
them
the
now.
cars are actually pretty
What
reasonable.
were
I
you,
don't think we had that.
The cars are pretty
You
reasonable.
were at
Well, that's what
70.
we're reasonably gonna do.
It's the,
Wasn't it 70
it's
for
the
the
equipment
one
that you end up putting in it,
and
and
67
some
for
of
the
it will transfer, but every year they change the body styles on these cars, so we used to have the Crown Victorias, right? You could take a cage out of a Crown Victoria and put it in a new Crown Victoria.
You gotta up-
Now they change the body styles every couple of years, so by the time we get done with a car and rotate it in, so if we wanted to go to a Ford Explorer from this 2015 Ford Explorer, we wanna rotate that equipment in, it won't fit the new car because they've changed the body style on it. So we end up
Okay,
having to
so-
order
so
new
Having
cages
been
and all
law
those things.
enforcement in a previous life, Crown Vics are nice, but they're rear-wheel drive. That doesn't work here.
Yeah, I hated it, but, you know.
Yeah, no, we're
They-
not going there. That's just nuts.
The point was is you could at least take the equipment out of one car and put it in a new car,
Oh, okay.
and they change things now, so just frequently enough to make that impossible to reuse that equipment. You end up having to take those cages out, you know, that put airbags in new places, so the cage won't work, whatever the difference is, but you know, we can take things like, you know, we've upgraded all our radars now, so we can take the radar out of the car, that's $5,000 right there, and we can move that radar into a new car. So those types of things we can change. We're using siren boxes and the components in the cars that we have now that we've used since early or late 90s. So we've been recycling some of those things, but eventually they need to go. So we put a new siren box and switch into the new car, and I think the new vehicles coming forward will have to have that stuff switched
My
out.
frustration is, good enough can't be good enough anymore.
So tonight, can I have an added agenda item for you guys, is just to approve Rob to go ahead and get
See what we can find.
something, or
Sure,
get,
my question would be, when is the actual payment due? Because if you're not gonna get the car until 2024, that's
that adds.
two budget cycles away.
Well, it adds another 20,000, which brings it up to 80,000.
Is that what we're putting in per line item, is 20,000 or is
Yeah,
it
it's
10?
20,000
No,
per
20,000.
year.
So realistically, by the time you take delivery on the 2024, you're talking about 2024 by the time it's done, and you already have.
Unless we can find something sooner, Andy, and that's kind of the issue, is if we can find a Durango or something else that's squad car ready, then that would be a conversation we probably have to come back and talk to you about.
And I would have no problem with something like that, but the other issue then would be, do we want do we want a diversified fleet where we have multiple brands of vehicles? Or do we want to keep everything fairly,
I would strangely argue no, but
Right.
defer that to the chief.
Yeah, and I think that's the struggle we're all dealing
I
with.
mean, I'm not saying
Ideally,
I want all Tahoes, but if you're gonna go with Chevy, GM products, or if you're gonna go with Ford products, or if you're gonna go with Chrysler products, I would think you'd wanna stay fairly similar, just so that.
You can use them on something else.
Right.
And Jim did say that he thought the county paid around 67 for the last one they
I
just
just saw a
ordered.
text us later, I don't know if an answer, but I don't think it was 100,000.
That's the base, that's what you write out.
No, it was like
what-
under 40 for the base, then you had to
And
upfit it
then all the
after that.
additional equipment that went on
But they
it?
used somebody local for the upfit, I forget
Yeah,
who
so
that
did
is.
we.
We use the
Yeah.
same one.
No.
Well,
Maybe I'm wrong, I did like to know if Mark would get back to you.
But it would be nice to see some actual numbers too, just so, but yeah, if you need to,
I guess,
we need to add that to the agenda item.
most squad cars, the base price on the squad car is around 40,000 to 45,000. That's kind of where the squad cars are running right now. And they add another 2,000-3,000. I think the Tahoes went up 2,000 or 3,000 from last year. So it's the base price of the car, and then you add graphics and the equipment and the installation and all those things. That's what drives that price up to, you know, that higher amount that Chris is talking
I'm
about.
with you, chief. My only concern is we need to have a squad that's gonna work in this town year-round.
I agree, and I think we have that. My point being is, these cars get driven, for the most part, around a 2 mile by 2 mile community with stops and starts.
Yep.
It's hell on the transmissions and engines and every
Tracking
component in that
with the
vehicle.
Tony and
By the
300
time they get to 80,000 miles, you are sinking, I mean, they're up at the shop on a weekly basis at this point.
And so 300 days of the year, that's great, but there are 65 days where the weather sucks, and they gotta be able to do what they gotta do.
Correct.
Then can I, at least for you guys, have him approve to get quotes? So you
Yes,
guys know what the
absolutely.
base amount is, so we
Yeah.
can compare to whatever the county has put into a squad? Just so that we're kinda in the same area?
And the
I will
county,
make a motion for that.
okay.
We'll put it on
I'll add
as
it to
an
the
added
agenda for the
agenda
council
item.
meeting.
Council.
I'm just like,
The,
oh my
the
God.
county currently has Tahoes, Durangos, and Ford Explorers in the fleet. Their last one was just a Durango that they got in black because they couldn't get a white car. So they're getting what they can get at this point. And in fact, the new 2 orders that they're looking at, one might be white and the other one might be black. They don't really know. So they're just grabbing whatever they can get. And I think that's what everybody's doing at this point.
Okay, so I got received quotes for new squad, graphics and equipment. So you guys have a kind of an idea of what it's gonna cost.
Okay. What's next on our workshop?
The last thing that the last thing I have is on December 26th, that's a Monday, but that's a holiday for staff because it's the day after Christmas, so, requesting that council meetings be moved to Tuesday, December 27th. Anybody have
We
a problem
need-
with that? We have to in the.
We need to make that a motion, so it's,
See,
so add that
I'm
one to
not
the
sure I'm gonna still be on the
agenda.
council at that point, so we'll see.
You will until the first, for sure.
I'll make the motion.
Cause I'm
for that.
Well,
running for the.
Well, it's on the,
Oh, I thought we made
Yeah.
a motion.
we have to we have to put it on the additional agenda.
That's all I have for workshop.
Well,
Alright,
Any feedback from Park Days, any
Fine, we're on
concerns,
for the
complaints, immediate feedback as far as things we should have done different or better, or?
The brand new radio and the brand new squad car pooped out about 2 hours before the parade, so we scrambled to pull the back seat apart to get to the radio components and rip that out and put the old radio in from the Chevy Impala, so we had a radio and a serviceable car for the weekend.
could have gone all day without hearing that story.
So it's on its way back to Motorola, but that's kind of what I'm dealing with. Even the new stuff is breaking, so the old stuff has been a constant fight, so we'll make it work.
A lot of compliments on the parade.
Yeah, the parade was awesome.
You wanna talk
They did a
about that? I don't
phenomenal
think I
job.
like doing.
Things went well, didn't have any issues really with the detour around town, so that seemed to work pretty well.
Have you gotten any feedback as far as train placement with the detour in place, or not really, other than the stuff you shared?
Just that one response, and I didn't get a lot of, I don't know if you read into that,
I did,
anything that
yeah.
kinda made you think they were gonna reach out to anybody, so.
No.
The only thing I got on Park Days when, if, we use Buck as the main route starting going north again, we need to add the map so people know which way to pull in to line up, because once the fire trucks, the honor guards and the rescue people blocked the parking lot, people were in the middle of the parking lot and they couldn't go forward. They couldn't go backward, and if they came the wrong direction, they couldn't get turned around to get to their spot.
Yeah, is the MinDOT planning supposedly supposed to have that rephased again for next year's construction cycle?
I think they'll be working on the other side of the street, so we're gonna run into the same issue next year again.
It'll be the same, cause they won't finish the bridges
Yeah,
on,
so it'll be the other side, yeah.
Yeah.
it'll be the,
So I'm sure we'll have some planning and kind of put some more thought into it for next year. You know, it was the first time, and
but as I was canvassing different people, at the park on, Saturday or Friday, Saturday and Sunday, I didn't realize how many people follow blues and drive 300 miles to listen to blues in the afternoon, and
Yeah, there's a lot of friendly, unfamiliar faces.
other than the main street gets a little quiet during park days, everybody else that was a vendor seemed to enjoy making money.
I really enjoyed Rob's complaints on Facebook while he was pouring beer on his cereal.
it's a tradition every year now.
So, but yeah, it turned out nicely, and the rain held off all weekend, which
We
was
got
good.
really blessed with good weather, I mean, really good.
So, anything else for the workshop? Then you wanna give updates on the water tower or the wastewater? Wastewater's complete, right?
Wastewater is, yeah, almost complete. There's just a
Okay.
few things, but, I'm sure everybody's gotten questions in regards to, are they finished painting? No, they're not. They ran out of the lighter colored paint, so that is why the top is not done.
So, and is the computer system still coming in September for that?
Well, we'll cross our fingers on that.
So, but it's not gonna be done it won't be operational before fall.
They were hoping to have it, it's 91% complete right now.
So, and the city, government center is, moving forward, and they're gonna finish putting the tin on this week?
Yeah, and I think there's cement gonna be poured either this week or next week for the fire hall.
And are we still scheduled to take the curb and gutter out and put the, driveways in? Why the detour, or are we waiting?
I met with Matt from the county, probably on the hottest day possible, but yeah, they approved, I think the permit they were getting situated and getting ready to okay it, I think, was it discussed,
Okay,
so.
okay,
But, technically when Matt came out or whatever, we're actually putting more curb and gutter back in than taking it out, so.
okay. Anybody else got any questions, concerns? If not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn the workshop.
I move we adjourn the workshop.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Stand adjourned.